Hello, everybody. Average Gamer here. I'm back. I'm back from Ottawa. This episode, videos today. There's a video announcement going up this morning, as well as this video, as well as a live stream, which announcement video. But I thought I'd post this because I've been back for a day or so. Got a bit of a sunburn. I don't know if you can see it in there, but pretty bad actually. Hurts a lot, but I thought I would show some of the pictures that I took. I didn't take many. There's a lot of places where you're not allowed to take pictures. Unlike when I went to DC, the capital in the States, where you could take pictures of everything. Um, I remember taking pictures while I was inside the White House while on a tour, and the person was just kind of like, it's like, okay, security? But no. Anyways, so what you're looking at right there. This is the center block building, so it's got the Senate on the right and our House of Commons on the left. So obviously this is the main building. We actually lucked out. They're actually going to be closing this building down in a couple days or weeks maybe to actually completely gut it. What you're looking at, I think it was built in the 30s or the 40s. I think it was the late. I think yeah, something like that. The whole building burned down except for the back part. But yeah, so you weren't allowed to take any pictures, whether you were allowed to, but they kind of restricted where you were allowed to take pictures, so I just decided not to. The only places you're allowed to, I took pictures of was the library itself. But we're going to go through. So obviously that's the center block building. Everyone knows obviously the Peace Tower. This is the East Block building. This used to be where the Prime Minister had his office and stuff like that. Now it's just offices, basically. And then here is the West Block building. You can't really see it from the trees and stuff, but this is where the House of Commons is going to be moved to temporarily for 10 years. And then it's going to be moved again. This is the Prime Minister's building. So this is the office of the Prime Minister. His office, actually, from what I was told, was right here. And boom, you get a little picture of his office. Well, kind of. Here is the Eternal Flame, which is just sitting out in front of Parliament. There is the Peace Tower. Now, the size scale here really doesn't do it justice. You can kind of see the security guard. I don't know if you can actually. Oh, can I zoom in? Yeah, you can't really see the security guard in there. But there's two parliamentary police officers in there. We're about 100 meters away from just the front of the building. That's actually not even the entrance. The entrance is actually inside it. It's like there's like a bit of a like a three entrance little thing around the base of it. Here's a closer picture. You can kind of see the security guards. They're there. So they're about as tall as I was. I'm 6'3", and you can see these guys just kind of go up this high. So you can kind of see they have a really nice chandelier, but there's an entrance and exit on this side, an entrance and exit on this side, and then there's the front one. The front one's kind of blocked off. The funny part about these two signs is the first one pretty much says employees only. I swear to God. The right one is employees only in French. So here is the top of the Peace Tower with the clock and the gargoyles. Girlfriend wanted to get pictures of the gargoyles. There's four, one on each corner, and obviously the clock. There's an elevator that goes all the way to the top. Unfortunately, it was broken while we were there. So, well, ignore my hair, by the way. I just woke up. So here's a picture from the back of the Parliament. So they have a wall that came to about the middle of my chest. So maybe about 4.5 feet. So I'm 6'3", so maybe 4.5 feet. My girlfriend was able to just kind of go over it. She's 5'3", able to see over it. And then there's wrought iron gates above that. This is the Ottawa River down here, and this is the Rideau Canal right here. Oh, wrong way. Here is the Library of Parliament, or some Americans would think of it as their Library of Congress. This was the only original building left from like way back in the 1800s. As you can see, the real difference, right? It's very Gothic and all that stuff. That's how the original building was looking. It's the only building I actually took pictures of the inside, so we'll get to those soon. Statue of Queen Elizabeth II, current queen, our current queen. And here is a picture of what the inside of the Library of Parliament looks like. So this is what, like the colors wise, and with all the wood and stuff like that, how our original Parliament buildings looked before they burned down. Queen Victoria, queen that gave us our independence and our capital. And there's our tour guide. There's the librarians that actually work in the library. And here, some Americans are going to love this. So this is a list of victories won by the British Army, including the Canadian militia and Indians in the North American War during the War of 1812 to 1814. These are all the wars we won, or all the battles we won. So, if we zoom in here, the Battle of Michilimack on July 17th, Brownstown, Detroit. That's where we actually took Detroit. Most Americans don't know this, but by the end of the war, Michigan was ours. Queenston Heights, French Mills. French Mills is probably one of the ones that Canadians really think to this day is funny. Can I move this over? Yeah. So French Mills. Oh wait, no, is that no? Sorry, I'm thinking of the Battle of Montreal. Well, it might be French Mills. No, actually, I think that is the right one. So, and I think Frenchman's Creek. Yeah, I think the two of them are the same. So, so the funny thing about this one is the Americans sent troops to Quebec or to Montreal, and they were assuming that the French, being conquered, maybe almost a generation before that, by the British, would just surrender to the Americans and join, cutting the country literally in, cutting Canada basically in half, which was a colony still at the time. And then that would cause the Americans to be able to, basically pick and choose which sections to take first. The plan was to take Upper Canada, which is currently now Southern Ontario, and then the next plan was to take Lower Canada, which was Quebec City and Montreal and basically the St. Lawrence Seaway, and then the Maritimes. But the British, thinking that the French were going to do the same thing, sent a bunch of Scottish Highlanders from New Brunswick to intercept the Americans at French Mills. And actually, that's Salmon River. That actually might be a little different, but I'm not 100% sure. But so we meet the Americans, and the Americans, thinking that they were going up against French, had a French-speaking, I think it was someone from Louisiana at the time, march out with the general in charge to meet the person in charge of the British forces there, thinking they were French militia, spoke to the guy in French, basically saying, "Hey, comrades, brother in arms, blah 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 blah. We would like to basically parlay this into you surrendering, basically." And the officer that they were talking to, being Scottish, didn't speak a lick of French. He looked at them, basically just said no, walked back, or no, didn't say anything. He walked back to the British lines and just said, "Receive the Americans, please." And the entire Canadian front lines opened up and fired, killing, I think it was like 30 or 40 American soldiers. The Americans, not having loaded their weapons, basically just took off and ran. So it's still, to this day, one of the humorous parts of the War of 1812 was that the Americans were very, if you look in the history books, very, very assuming in the fact that they were going to win the war. But they didn't. So yeah, so all the different battles won during the War of 1812. So this is an actual brass plate that was actually minted just after after the actual war itself. So you got things like Stony Creek. That's actually just outside of Hamilton in Ontario. We won there. Black Rock. Um, I can't make out what that is. Buffalo and Black Rock, Nanticoke, Hamilton, New York. I have no idea where that is. Um, Fort George Reconnaissance, um, French Mills, New York. Oh, so the French Mills is in New York. Yeah. Um, oh, and then for Americans who say, you know, you know, you know that we really didn't do anything. I think it says Blazing Song and Washington. That'd be Washington D.C. That would be the time when we went down there and burned it to the ground. And then the Battle of Baltimore, which was the creation of the Star Spangled Banner. Now, this is the first Battle of Baltimore, not the second one. The second one is when the British/Canadians lost. Or no, they didn't lose. They basically just gave up. Like they were like, we can continue holding on to the, basically just besieging the fort, or we can just leave. Or we can talk to the Americans to basically coming into a bit of a peace treaty because we just burnt down the Capitol buildings. Now let's think of something else. And then the last battle, which was on October 19th, Cook's Mills. So this was minted. It doesn't say when, but I believe they said it was done in 1817 or 1818 or something like that. Yeah, so it just shows all the different victories that we had during the War of 1812 against the Americans. But that was very interesting. Wrong way. This is the roof above the Senate foyer. So you have the foyer, and then you have the Senate internally to that. This is actually the names here, 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 etc., etc. Of all the different speakers in the Senate that we've had of all time. Now, when they built this when they built this stained glass in the 20s, they realized that they weren't going to be able to put everyone's name in the future there. So this one right here, I think it's Concur or whatever. It's some French word for everybody. Basically, it's supposed to be like, okay, from now on, if you're ever become the Speaker of the Senate, that's your spot. Here is a picture of the Ottawa, well, part of the Ottawa River. It kind of bifurcates with an island and then kind of comes back together again. But that is a picture of the Parliament buildings there from pretty far away. There's a little bit of picture with the Western Bloc. This building right here is the Superior Court of Canada. A little bit better picture there. There is the Chateau or Fairmont Chateau Laurier, one of the most famous hotels in Canada. Between that and the Banff Fairmont as well. This is basically just this is in actually from a picture from Quebec to Ottawa. So from Gatineau, I think this is the Library of History, or sorry, the Museum of History. But that is there's the library there, and there's the center block, and there's the Peace Tower. Here it is again from going back over into Ontario. Over, I can't remember which bridge this is, but there is the center block there. There's the Art Gallery of Canada. There's the East Block there. Over there is the Superior Court Canada. This right here, sorry for my finger. It was windy and I didn't want to lose my phone. This was the first Prime Minister's home right here. It's now, can't really see it, but that's the British flag right there. It's now the headquarters for the British High Commission. This is 24 Sussex Drive. This is where our Prime Minister lives, though he's not living there right now because they found asbestos. Here's Rideau Hall, the Queen's home. This is where the Queen lives when she's in the country, aka where the Governor General lives. This is the Korean barbecue my girlfriend and I had for dinner the one night. It was good. It was so good. I mean, just look at that. Look how much stuff we had. It was crazy. It was crazy good. This is an actual picture of the gardens in Rideau Hall. that my girlfriend and I we walked through. It's a totem pole. This is, can I get it? Yeah, let's kind of go. Um, it's a panoramic, 360 degrees. I'm standing in pretty much like right about here in the picture. So you don't really see the totem, but it's like just like right here. But over here is the it's like some memorial fountain thing. And then way down there, it's like almost 400 meters, 500 meters. I think it's actually a kilometer. Is the actual main gate. So this gate, you have to walk all the way up, and we are at this point halfway between the gate and the actual hall itself. It's way back there. Here's the water. Now, you can't really see it, but this right there, I can zoom in, is the Peace Tower. They actually lined this thing up with the Peace Tower so the Queen can see part of it, basically, from from her backyard. This is Rideau Hall itself. This was a tree planted by Queen Elizabeth in 2007 or something like that. Plaque talking about it. Little thing down there talking about it. Here is Rideau Hall itself. It's a huge building. Here's the main gate, or the secondary gate. The main gate is to the left, just beside this thing a little bit, and it's a huge gate with a big RCMP security post and all that stuff. And that's it. That was pretty much taken on our last day. Like I said, there was a lot of things you can't take pictures of. We went and also saw the Rideau Canal. I just didn't take pictures of that. A lot of things. My theory is I don't like taking pictures unless there's a purpose or I'm told to by my girlfriend. Take the layer of dust on that. Oh, that dusted and cleaned everything. But anyways, so yeah, so that was our little trip to Ottawa, including my really bad sunburn. Rideau Hall was good. If you ever get a chance, go. There's lots to see, lots to do. If you get a chance, there's a couple of things that are set up properly. I think it's called the Lady Dive Tour, where either A, you can get on a boat and it just takes you into the Rideau Canal and you can zoop around town that way, or you can take a bus like we did, and it basically just drops for a ticket. Like basically, it's like a regular bus. It takes you and drops you off different spots if you want to get off, or you can just keep going. Or they just give you a tour, basically, of the town. Show you where everything is, so you know what to do on the first day. But yeah, so we went around and with that and got all the pictures, and then on the next day we actually got off and actually went and looked at stuff. It's actually really good. Wish we knew about it earlier because we would have been able to get more in. But that was our trip to Ottawa. It was fun. Do it if you get the chance. Later today there will be another video. Just giving an announcement about live streaming for this week and what the plan is and some changes to the channel and an announcement. See you guys later. My mouse is on the wrong monitor. See you next time. Bye-bye.